Hey everybody, happy Friday, happy Good Friday, happy April, and happy Resurrection Weekend to you. Thank you so much for being here today. Last Friday, I shared a lesson entitled The Eve Complex, which is a 4-part series. Part 1 was Did God Really Say That? Part 2 was Eye Candy, and Part 3 was The Jealous Serpent. So please check those 3 out first because we are building for the last time today with The Eve Complex Part 4 with the subtitle of Was It Worth It? So let's go ahead and jump right into today's lesson. And as we discussed in the Eve Complex Part 1, Did God Really Say That? Adam and Eve, they had everything at their disposal. God had given them dominion over the Garden of Eden. He told them, be fruitful, multiply, subdue it, enjoy it. That's all they had to do. But as we know, Eve allowed the serpent to heighten her curiosity about a tree that she wasn't even supposed to touch. He pretended to enlighten her by casting doubt about what God had said. Now, Eve had access to God the whole time. If she was that confused about his instructions, concerning the tree, she could have asked him, she could have asked her husband, but no, she saw what pleased her eye candy, and she had to have it. She let a creature that she was supposed to have dominion over have dominion over her. We need to put that on a t-shirt. Her decision to bite an apple, which only lasted for a few seconds, had a multitude of consequences that were permanent. As noted in Genesis 3:16 through 24, the ground became cursed. Childbearing would now be painful. Adam would lord over her. They were evicted from the garden. They had to work to get their food, and sin entered the world. That is a hefty price to pay for one bite. As we can see, disobedience is not the way to go. As I just stated, Eve let a creature that she was supposed to have dominion over have dominion over her. She took advice from a serpent that God clearly told her that she was to rule over. The serpent was beneath her. He wasn't even on her level. So let me ask you, why is it that we give more weight and allegiance and more loyalty to the created instead of the creator? What has God given you dominion over that you're letting control you? Your thought life? People's opinion of you, worry, fear, your past, regrets, doubt, and unbelief. What is dominating you? The enemy knows that it's a wrap for him. His fate has already been signed, sealed, and delivered. And I don't care what he proposes to you or what he propositions you with, it will never be worth it. Think about scam artists. They're good at what they do, and that's why they can scam people out of millions and millions of dollars and rarely get caught. Because they've done it long enough to know how to reel people in, make their propositions sound believable. You've heard of people being blindsided and losing their entire life savings before they even realize what has happened. And the enemy to our greatness is no different. He wants us to lose it all, everything. And the Lord knows how cunning the devil is and how gullible we are as sheep. So knowing his voice and following his lead will keep us from deception and potentially being destroyed. My Eve complex did not advance my life one bit, not one iota. It set me way back, and I lost a lot, and if it was not for God, my life would still be upside down right now. Now, I never practiced New Age, but my idols were people, using all my efforts to keep everybody happy, being a puppet on a string, and only including God when needed. Now, I prayed, I went to church, I paid my tithes, but I honored God with my lips. He didn't have my heart. I gave that to people who I thought I needed for my life to be complete. At the time, I couldn't function apart from toxic relationships, and I allowed my life to be dominated by people and things that I should have had dominion over. There is nothing that I did outside of God's will, his purpose, or his timing that was worth it, nor do I have anything positive that I can show for it. Now, I'm sure if Adam, Eve, David, Solomon, Samson, and quite a few more were here today, they would agree with me, and maybe you too, the price tag for disobedience was not worth the temporary pleasure of living from our flesh. Another witness would be the children of Israel who lost out big time, those ages 20 and above that ended up dying without entering the promised land because of disobedience. Every time God would provide for them, he'd defeat their enemies. Their shoes didn't wear out. He fed them. They would always find something to complain about and worship their idols. They went to their idols to get their flesh satisfied, but to God to meet their needs. Now, as I get older, there are a lot of things that I wish I had done differently. Now, I'm not going to beat myself up. I'm not going to live in regret, but hopefully I can help someone else. I will always be a work in progress in certain areas of my life. I'm not going to be perfect. I won't get it right all the time. But there is one thing that I'm working real hard not to do anymore, which is learn lessons the hard way. I did that in my 20s, my 30s, and my 40s, and I am not about that life anymore because it takes too long to recover. Now, I know they say that experience is the best teacher, and I agree. Some things you need to experience firsthand for yourself, but this going in circles and repeating cycles and back and forth and round we go, doing stuff over and over that I know doesn't work. Nah, I know this isn't grammatically correct, but ain't nobody got time for that. For every poor choice that I made, God himself or someone who truly had my best interest at heart tried to warn me, but I didn't listen. Just like with Eve, I had a do it now and suffer the consequences later mentality. There was a void in my life, and I was just, grabbing at straws, trying to fill it with instant gratification that would give me the quickest but shortest relief. So, of course, I needed some more gratification for the gratification that I had. God has placed wise counsel in our lives, people that are rooting for us to win. They have no ulterior motive. They are not, sent to harm us. They're sent to give us the truth and love. But far too often we let pride and stubbornness, keep us from hearing it. We're going to think, well, I'm grown. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't understand. Who do they think they are anyway? But it's not until our lives are shipwrecked that we clearly see how the love of God was trying to get our attention through them all along. Proverbs 27:6, the Amplified Bible states, "Faithful are the wounds of a friend who corrects out of love and concern, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful because they serve his hidden agenda." Let me let you in on a little secret. Don't be so set on learning everything the hard way. Yes, I have lessons from the difficult things that I went through, but there was also a lot of unnecessary pain that I put myself through and had to work through. My flesh could not heal the pain of my soul. Only God could do that. And I don't have time to keep learning lessons the hard way. It takes too long. So now I choose to learn them God's way. God has redeemed the time for me, and I plan to make it count. So if he's like, Leslie, don't do that. That's not for you. That person's not for you. Okay, I don't even second guess it. So from one sister to another, believe me when I say, a house will not heal your heart. A new car won't give you confidence. Another relationship will not remedy your low self-esteem, and there's not enough designer labels that you can buy to make you love yourself. It all comes from within. Trust me, I've been there, I've done that, and I've got the t-shirt. If you have to lose your dignity, deny or denounce God, break your own heart, disrespect yourself or somebody else, I promise you, whatever you're doing will not be worth it. Suffering for Christ and suffering because of our own choices, that's two different things. One carries the blessings of God and the other carries consequences from God. And we have to be honest with ourselves instead of placing blame like Eve did. When she was confronted by God, she blamed her choice on the serpent and she took no accountability whatsoever. But owning my stuff was the catalyst for God doing a new thing in my life. My advice to you is let God guide you. Let him lead you, show you the way, open the door when it's time, advise you concerning who you should or should not connect with. Appreciate his no as much as you do his yes. Being good to his children is his nature, so he won't steer us wrong. And what he has for us is better than anything that we can come up with anyway. So trust his plan, his path, his timing, not yours. Here's a scripture that we all know and love, which is Jeremiah 29:11, and I'll read the ERV translation. "I say this because I know the plans that I have for you. This message is from the Lord. I have good plans for you. I don't plan to hurt you. I plan to give you hope and a good future." So that next thing you're about to do, or the situation that you're in right now, ask yourself, what I'm currently doing or planning to do, is it really worth it? Are my choices moving me closer to God's best or keeping me stuck? Is my life moving forward with the people that I have in it? Am I allowing my life to be controlled by something or someone that I should have dominion over? When it comes to my way versus God's way, hands down, God's way is the best. B-E-S-T. Not the easiest now, because your flesh will give you a fit, but compared to my way and where I've come from and what I've been through, his way is absolutely the best. And I will close and leave you with one of my favorite scriptures that confirms God's way is totally worth it. Proverbs 3:5-6, the Living Bible states, "If you want favor with both God and man and a reputation for good judgment and common sense, then trust the Lord completely. Don't ever trust yourself. In everything you do, put God first, and he will direct you and crown your efforts with success." Thank you so much for hanging with me today. If you were here for the entire Eve Complex series, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Please subscribe while you're here, like this video, turn on your notifications, and any takeaways, please leave me a comment and I'll reply. Please join me next Friday for a new lesson. I don't even know what that's going to be yet, but I promise you I will be here, so come back and join me. In the meantime, remember that you matter. In Christ, you are enough. You are never alone. And most importantly, you are eternally and unconditionally loved. Until next time, take care.